Let's go Bucs. Bucs Abroad, episode 12. I'm Big Brain Benny here in Atlanta. I got my first mate Sheehy in Alexandria, and you can see this bag on my head because it has been an embarrassment to be a Pirate fan over the last 10 days. 10 games. 0-9 since we last talked. 10-game losing streak. It's just abysmal what we've been dealt with, what we've been going through, right there, right on the cusp of it, just for the season to be over. Skenes Day today doesn't hit the same. It just doesn't matter. Just shut him down, save him for next year, but I'm still going to watch him pitch. That's the only Pirate game that I've been watching is Skenes Day.
Yeah, I'm still going to watch him pitch. Obviously, I'm rocking the Bucks for purposes of this. Wouldn't catch me dead in public wearing this right now. Wouldn't catch me dead in public. 0-10, never seen a streak like this in my life. Comments by Derek Shelton on his radio show absolutely set me off the deep end. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but just the season's over. It's done. Jared Jones, he's on a rehab assignment. No need to rush him back. No need to bring him back. Shut him down. Shut Skenes down at the end of the month. Let's bring up Bubba Chandler, Braxton Ashcraft, see what we got. I don't know. Keep me interested at least a little bit.
Like you said, the season's over. There's been no effort over the last 10 games. It's terrible baseball to watch. And let's get into the top 5 of the week. And I think we're on the same page because no one deserves to be on the top 5. And then we'll roll right into the bum of the week, and that's every single fucking player that's played over the last 10 games, Derek Shelton included. I don't want to get too angry, but I will if we keep talking about it. But
we had to hold off a couple days on this episode, folks. It would have been real ugly a couple days ago. I will say I will leave one guy off the list, Ben, because he doesn't deserve it all year. Brian Reynolds.
Agreed.
Doesn't deserve it.
Agreed.
Doesn't deserve it.
But the only good thing I'm looking at that could come from this is firing Derek Shelton at the end of the year. But
I don't know if they're going to do it.
Bob Nutting's cheap ass, we just extended him last year after a 20-8 start. The stupidest extension of all time because we saw it happen last year too. So Nutting's not going to just waste that money away because we already gave it to him. So
I don't know if they're going to do it.
I mean, not going to.
Even if the Pirates missed the playoffs this year, but they consistently stayed in the race, I think it would be a hard decision. But you would have to get rid of him. He's just not a guy that's going to get this team over the hump with the young guys.
No,
he's just not that guy. The problem is how do you bring in a manager like Terry Francona? Because they're never going to pay him. And it's an exciting team that you could take over. The issue is in the offseason, I know how this is going to go. I know how it's going to go, Big Brain. It's going to be a lot of cheap rental, old contracts. I feel bad for McCutchen. As much as I've said some things about McCutchen this year, I feel bad for him. He seems like the only guy showing any sort of effort out there. He's just not, I wanted them to get to the postseason for him. And you know what? I think they should bring him back next year if he wants to play.
I agree. I think Kutch deserves at least one more run at it. Bring him back next year, but just tell him and just be real with him and be like, dude, we want you back, but you can't be our everyday DH.
I'm going to read you some stats here that are damning a Derek Shelton. Sorry, I got to pull up the phone. Couldn't find a pen earlier. Embarrassing on my part. And then I realized there was one sitting right in front of me. But let me read you off these stats here. The Pirates have had 43 games decided by one run this year. 43 games by one run. You're right there. I mean, think about what their record would be if they even won 3/4 of those.
Mm-hmm.
They're 19-24 in those one-run games. And over the last 11 games, over this big losing streak, 7 of them have been by one run. The bullpen is totally imploded.
Yep.
Totally. Heard a good argument the other day, in all honesty, about David Bednar. Now that I've kind of removed myself a little bit from the anger, now that could easily start again tonight. But I did have that day buffer zone. Hard to sit down a closer like that has done so much for the community and the team. I get it. But there's clearly something going on with David Bednar. He's had a bad season. He's had a real bad season. Hard to walk away from a dude that's always out in the community. But you know what? I'm just not here. I'm just not here for that. I don't live there. We're abroad. You know? He's from Mars, good story. But man, when he comes in and gets shelled like he has been, I mean, how are you giving up? Like, Aroldis Chapman's your best arm in the bullpen right now. And you're telling me David Bednar isn't a man enough to give up his closing spot and not be all butthurt after he's got a 5 ERA as a closer?
Yeah, the David Bednar discourse it's just sad. It's like, okay, sure, yeah, like you said, he's from Mars, good story, da 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 da. Who gives a shit if you're not winning us baseball games and you're jeopardizing us? Put yourself up as a man and say, I got to get taken out of that closer spot. I would have respect for that. Like, I'd be fine if Bednar's pitching in the 8th inning, 7th inning.
Get some mojo back in him.
You know, like Chapman,
take some pressure off of him.
Chapman makes the most sense to go to closer, but Kyle Nicholas, if they put him in that closer spot, I would be fine with that too, because he's been the only consistently pretty
other than Kyle Nicholas's first outing, which if you remember, it was the day that Skenes started.
Yep.
Skenes' first ever start. Other than that, which he got lit up in, and they still came back and all a weird game, 2-hour rain delay. I'll remember that game forever, by the way. But Kyle Nicholas has been awesome. It sucks that Wojcinski went out on the IL. He was doing great. I mean, this team just kind of imploded at the right time, man.
Yeah, and Holderman sucking was not accounted for. He literally lost the first 4 games of this league.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
Insane.
And for a guy like him that was real good all year, I mean,
yeah. If you remember a couple early episodes, I was fighting for him to be an all-star.
It's all falling apart. This is a bad lineup with a good pitching staff that just finally they lost their spotter. They're stuck under the bar. When they needed the bats to pick them up, they weren't there. They carried the bats the first half of the year. Carried them. This team's in the same spot. They're on pace to win the same amount of games as last year, same record, and that's with Paul Skenes and Jared Jones. And Jared Jones, even before he went on the IL, he's still going through a bit of a rough patch. But you know what? I can see the future there, but the hard part is I just know they're going to just waste this. Even the moves at the deadline, it does suck that De La Cruz went into a bad slump as soon as he got here. But you know what? He's going to be back next year, Brian De La Cruz. I don't have any doubts with him. I think he'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
IKF's a great pickup. That's another guy I can leave off the bum of the week argument. He's been playing his balls off.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, just a tough way to lose the season in August. I mean, it would have been fun to keep this going in September. I'll obviously still be watching, but it's tough.
You know, they got us. They like last year. Like, it's sad. Like you said, we're on pace to have the same record as last year, and the season was over well before the summer was even at its halfway point. They gave us until August, and it's football season right around the corner, which I'm excited for as well. But obviously, Buccos come first in my mind, my heart, my balls, and Buccos being out is just it's. I literally had to stop watching to get my anxiety and stress level down.
If Francona is going to take this job, if they're going to offer him this job, I get he's got that new Brighton connection from your neck of the woods, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm him, I'll entertain the Pirates, but I'm telling Bob Nutting, listen, I'll manage, but you got to at least be at the median payroll. You got to be at number 16 because you can't manage a team 20. That just doesn't have it.
It has to be top 20. Like, look at the Royals. The Royals, it's inflated by the Bobby Witt contract,
Royals
but
won a
they're like,
World Series with a bad payroll.
yeah, and they're still only like top 18, I think, in
But you know
payroll, and
what?
they're a good team right now.
And 40% of their payroll is Bobby Witt,
Yep,
who's awesome. I
he,
wish the Pirates
he
had
is
Bobby Witt
awesome.
Jr., not O'Neill Cruz, who's had 7 errors since July 31st. When is it time to move O'Neill Cruz to right field? When is it going to be time?
It might be
We
this
need a
off
legitimate
season.
shortstop. I get it. He's talented. But my God, does he make some bad mistakes? I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy. He's been in the league long enough where he should not be making those mistakes. Those are
Well,
rookie mistakes. They're bad. The leg injury, forget it. I mean, we're in August, buddy. If he was making these mistakes
yeah,
in,
but
in
I mean,
May,
it's still his like rookie season technically. So I'm not
I don't
writing
know.
off O'Neill Cruz at shortstop just yet. If he's making these same boneheaded mistakes in clumps next year, I'm with you.
If
But
this was a
it's
legitimate
it's his first
organization,
full season.
if this was a legitimate organization, O'Neill Cruz is one of those guys that, you know, he'd be there right before they turn the corner, but when they turn the corner, he'd be nowhere to be found. He'd be off the steam.
The thing
Yeah,
is, like, I could see, like, if you remember Fernando Tatis Jr., he was playing shortstop to begin his career, and now he's in right field. But it's like they have Xander Bogaerts at shortstop.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's an easy transition. But I'm not putting fucking Alika Williams at shortstop and O'Neill Cruz in right field.
No, I know. Well, Leak is rolling. I hope he never rocks a Pirate uniform ever again.
Ever.
He stinks. I mean, I don't know what you do. I will say, Key Brian Hayes had a real bad year at the plate. He does lead the league in fielding percentage at third baseman. But at that point, I mean, what? He's a wasted bat. That's crazy.
Yeah,
What are you going to
wasted
do?
AB.
What are you going to do? I mean, yeah, he's a great short, or he's a great third baseman. Other than that, he's terrible in other ways. But I mean, I don't get it. I mean, this team's got a lot of holes. The management to manage this team the way it's been managed has been bad. They should be playing small ball.
Mm-hmm.
They should be. They're still just trying to hit home runs. I mean, that's how the league's moving. But the team's not built to hit home runs, buddy.
It's not. And,
A guy
you
like
know,
O'Neill Cruz, he needs to be producing home runs. He needs to have at least 30 home runs a year if he wants to keep around. He's not even close to that. He's not going to hit that. But I don't know, big brain. Let's move
yeah.
along.
But yeah, listen, we got 3 games at home against the Seattle Mariners. I'm sure the crowd's going to be heavy tonight for Skenes. Probably will be very light
It'll be a
Saturday,
pissed
Sunday.
off crowd. It should be a pissed off crowd.
And then we got 3 at the Texas Rangers, and then we come back home for a 4-game series against probably our biggest rival in the NL Central, the Cincinnati Reds. And I will be in town that weekend going to the game either Friday or Saturday. Early in August when I booked the trip, I was like, I'm going to all 3 games. Now I'll be lucky if I go to 1.
I don't know. I mean, unless they come out and win 11 straight, I don't know how they get back on this mojo. I don't know. It's just they're chasing 5 teams, and we're 7.5 games out.
Yeah, we're done.
Those the teams they're chasing are all heating up, buddy.
And they're all hot, every single one of them.
Yep, they're all hot. It just drives me crazy.
It's
Number one culprit to this losing streak, not only the team, it's Derek Shelton.
It's Derek Shelton.
He'll never manage another game in Major League Baseball if they do the right thing and let him walk at the end of the year.
But yeah, it's like at this point, I just hope we don't lose every single game for the rest of the year. Like, just
Feels like it.
make like an effort, like show that you got some effort. We're 7.5 back. We're not chasing that, but it's like show some effort for the rest of the year, please.
I know it's sad to see. Sad to see. I had a lot of promise this year. I was booking my tickets to the playoffs. Didn't even care about the World Series. Just wanted to make the playoffs.
Wanted to make the dance,
We're on pace to go to have another losing season. That's 28 losing seasons out of the last 30. Unbelievable. Unbelievable job by this franchise and ownership group. Unbelievable. Ben Sherrington. Great moves at the deadline. Oh, he's handicapped. He put together a dog crap lineup for all 5 years that he's been here.
Agreed.
Absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible.
But before we keep going on a tangent, because we can go for another 30 minutes on this, but we're going to end the show. Random Bucko of the Week. We always will throw a random Bucko of the Week. Guy, who do you got this week?
My random Bucko, he did play for the Pirates, but he's more well known for being the worst manager in Pirates history, John Russell. John Russell was 186 and 299 from 2008 to 2010. Horrible. The best thing that happened to John Russell is Derek Shelton, who is 274 and 392. That is unbelievably bad.
That's so bad.
Unbelievable. And that's even with the shortened COVID season where he won 19 games. He lost 41 games.
Mm.
And those are some bad Pirate teams, but my God, it's professional baseball.
Yeah.
Like these guys aren't, I mean, yeah, we talk about the Pirates being terrible lineups, terrible bats. They're still playing Major League Baseball. Every one of these guys on the roster could go play for the Yankees every day, or at least be in a platoon role. It's bad. It's bad all around. John Russell, worst Pirates manager until Derek Shelton.
John Russell, he was a very bad manager, and that gave us Clint Hurdle after John Russell. So hopefully we fire Shelton and we get somebody like Clint Hurdle. Just bring Clint Hurdle back. Fuck it.
Clint Hurdle was managing this team, they'd be 15 games over 500.
Yep, agreed. But my random Bucko of the Week, he was part of those great Bucko teams in 2013, 14, and 15. He held down the seventh inning, then the eighth inning. Tony Tuna Watson. He was epic. He was great. He was a great setup man. Thought we had that. A new Tuna Watson in Holderman. Not going to be that way, but Tony Tuna Watson, a lot of great memories from him. Big number 44. Hope he's doing well, but that's my random Bucko of the Week.
Not much else to say, folks. Not much else to say.
Let's go Skenes. Let's hope we win tonight, and
we'll talk to you next week.
Yep. Take it easy. Let's go Bucs.